Now let's turn to a new face, the new director of the Initiative on Educational Excellence for Hispanics, Jose Rico. Obama appointed him last month. He is fantastic. I love this guy. He worked closely and recently with Bill Ayers, you know, the terrorist. And he also worked with the radical communist Mike Klonsky. Now, we all know about Bill Ayers, right? Anybody ever heard of Mike Klonsky? Nope, me neither. He's a great guy. You're going to fall in love with him. He is a retired professor. What a surprise, he came from the educational system. He is still active in education reform, and he served he was the national secretary of the violent SDS in the 1960s. Watch.
I'm Mike Klonsky, National Secretary of SDS, and this is Bernadine Dorn, Interorganizational Secretary.
So you do what you were Is there a communist faction making a big power play for SDS at this
point? Is there any communists back here? I guess there is.
Okay. He's also pesky little detail. We shouldn't even worry about this. He was the founder of the Marxist-Leninist wing of the Communist Party. And he's also advocated for overthrowing the United States of America. But no big deal. Oh, one more thing. Mao's successor praised Klonsky for his efforts to spread communism. But that's all. Okay, all right. There's also the fact that he was blogging for Obama's campaign until they started going, isn't he the radical communist? And then he stopped. Wow. I have to tell you, this president has the worst luck of any president I've ever seen. How many communists does he accidentally hire? He didn't know. Here's another one. Klonsky's pupil, who is now in the Obama administration, thanks to her special appointment without that pesky Congress getting in the way. Obama is loading the structure that I told you about over 2 years ago. Remember when I said they're building something? Don't let anything pass. They're building a system. Well, now he's just loading it with all the people. And they are dangerous people. Loyal servants who all seem to agree that the United States as we know it must be dismantled. It was good a long time ago. The only thing Obama hasn't done is put on a Mao suit. But it's still early. It wouldn't surprise me to see him in it. For more now just on how dangerous Jose Rico is, I want to bring in Kyle Olson, who has been on the program before. Hi, Kyle. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Kyle wrote, he's the founder of the Educational Action Group Foundation. He's also the author of Indoctrination, which we have showed you a couple of times before. And you're the man who brought this to my attention. This guy, put him in the Van Jones category. I think Van Jones is an extraordinarily dangerous man. Everybody dismisses him. I think he's dangerous. Put him in, where does he go on the Van Jones scale?
Well, it's tough because he hasn't been as outspoken as Van Jones, but if you look at the where he has come from, he worked for Mike Klonsky and Bill Ayers for 6 years. And then he left the organization called Small Schools Workshop, which was and still is under the auspices of University of Illinois Chicago, which is where Ayers was a professor. So he left there. And
can I ask you a second? University of Illinois, good place, bad place? I hear great things about the University of Illinois, and then I always see these communists coming out of there, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, good place or bad place?
Well, I went to Michigan State, so I'm a little biased.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, they all seem to come out of Chicago.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Chicago and Milwaukee, which is interesting. And
by the way, hang on. Speaking of Milwaukee, anybody know who died within the last month in Milwaukee? No, in Madison, Wisconsin. Anybody know? Somebody very famous. Didn't even know she lived in the United States of America. Stalin's daughter. Yes. Lived in Madison, Wisconsin. She just died a couple of weeks ago. She came here to the United States because she didn't like the way the new regime that had replaced her father was treating her husband. Oh, was he putting him in a little prison and letting him starve to death? So anyway, she just died. But it's interesting to me that she moved to Madison, Wisconsin. But anyway, I digress.
That's all right.
ADD.
So Jose Rico worked at Small Schools Workshop, and the philosophy of this organization is that we need to have small schools, small class sizes, that sort of thing.
What's wrong with that?
Well, the philosophy doesn't work, first of all. And it's interesting, back in the 90s, the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, put millions and millions of dollars into this theory. And the more they tested it and it was going on around the country, they realized it's not working. And so the Gates Foundation deemed it a failure, and they moved on to other things.
Okay.
But this philosophy is still continuing.
Okay. He is, first of all, didn't Bill Ayers say something about, like, that our education system isn't so bad? Didn't he?
Yeah, they basically, the Klonsky Ayers philosophy of education is that they need to be essentially social engineering environments where
right.
we need to teach children the value of the teachers, which of course from their perspective is a far left value set. And we need to shape the children to meet, you know, the objectives that they have. And they're completely opposed to assessment, testing, accountability, those sorts of things.
Of course.
And they just want to have just kind of, you know, come as you are sort
Trophies
of thing.
for everybody.
That's right.
Play A55, please, the sound from Bill Ayers. Do you have that?
That a movement like this has the tremendous power to reframe the issue. You know what I mean when I say reframe the issue? Framing the issue is everything, and we cannot look to the media, who are basically stenographers for power. I mean, you can't look to them to affirm you or to reframe this for you. You have to do it here. You have to do it on your own. A perfect example from my world of education, of reframing, is all through the last 4 years you've heard, you've heard politicians say, we need to get the lazy, incompetent teachers out of the classroom. Now, when you hear that, don't you kind of nod slowly? Well, what are you going to do? I'm going to stand up and say, I insist the lazy, incompetent teacher must stay there for my granddaughter. What? They won the argument by framing the issue.
These guys are so insidious. I mean, they are really insidious. There's not an honest one in the bunch. It is this system that they have developed over the last 100 years, and most of us, maybe it's just me, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, did you all know this stuff was as prevalent and going on like this? I didn't know 3 years ago. I just started waking up in the last probably 5 years.
And so what is disturbing about Jose Rico is I think he's an example of the Bill Ayers philosophy. And so what I mean by that is he came out of that culture of the small schools and, you know, no accountability and those sorts of things. And so now he is attempting to bring that philosophy to the White House. And so what I've tried to do is show the connections, show who he worked under for many, many years. And then when he left Klonsky and Ayers, he went to work as a principal in a small high school in Chicago.
This is where this must have been his strong suit. This must where he turned that school around.
And that's the thing, is I say, okay, so maybe let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's not fair to say his associates, you know, are irrelevant.
He was working with a bunch of communists.
So let's,
and I mean, because that happens all the time. How many communists do you know?
Oh, dozens.
Yeah, I know hundreds of them. Anybody here know actual communists? Do you know a single? You know one. There's one. I don't know a single. He's an actual communist? He's an actual communist. I don't know a single damn communist. All the communists I know, I've learned them from the Obama administration. So here he is. Let's just say so he was hanging out with communists. He's super successful at turning schools around. Tell me about the principal job.
So he was a principal for a few years in Chicago at a school called Multicultural Arts High School.
Oh, that has to be good. It's not just an arts school.
It's multicultural.
It's multicultural.
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's important.
Oh, it is.
And so
you can't just have a bunch of white people or black people or Americans or just separate Canadians. You got to have everybody doing art.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
So the academic performance of this school is 584th out of 640 high schools in the state of Illinois. So in the bottom 10%.
High score wins.
Right.
So if you're at 600
According to
something-
Bill Ayers.
Yeah, according to Bill Ayers. Okay.
And then the other thing is that it boasts a 56% graduation rate. And so here's someone...
What was it when he took it over?
Well, they started it. He was the first principal.
Oh, they started keeping track when...
Right.
Okay, good. So he set this up? The school,
Correct.
This is a startup?
Correct.
A startup
there was
with
a program
56%.
called Renaissance 2010 where Chicago Public Schools started a bunch of new schools.
Wow.
And they started the school under the small schools philosophy. And so he was the first.
So it's working out well for him.
It's working out well.
Okay.
So he's got this very pitiful track record, frankly.
Right. So then why, okay, hanging out with communists, has a horrible track record, why is he now at the White House?
Well, according to my research, he's personal friends with Michelle Obama. And so they call him up and they say, hey, we've got a great spot for you in the White House. And so if I was a Hispanic education leader, or Hispanic regardless, I would be saying to myself, if we want to be trying to improve education, why don't we look at things that are working? And unfortunately, this person has demonstrated that he's not able to do it. But unfortunately, I think because of his roots, because of the fact that he's from Chicago, they put him in the administration.
I think he's wrong. I want you to know I think this is really unfair of you to say, you know, he was a friend of Michelle Obama. I think he was hired because he's a communist. That's what I think. But maybe it's just me. Is there anything else that we haven't hit here?
Well, I think this is a good example, again, of Bill Ayers' impact on public education.
Columbia is I mean, I just walked around. I have daughters in college. Man, I'm having a hard time writing that check. I'm like writing those checks for college because it's insane. They're indoctrinating our children. The what's happening at Columbia University with Occupy Wall Street is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
It is. There actually is an Occupy 101 that's going to be taught, I think, this semester. And so students, part of the time is in the classroom, and then the other part of the time is actually working in Occupy. And so students get credit for that.
Look at that.
And so
Can you imagine what would happen if Glenn Beck University was giving credit to go work at a Tea Party rally? Can you even imagine what they would say? They would revoke the accreditation like that. But this is education.
But this is education. And what's disturbing, I think, about this is that's higher education, but these types of things are going on in our K-12 public schools as well.
Do we have time real quick to go through the lyrics of, do we have the lyrics of the song? Do you have them? The lyrics of the song. Let's play the video first of what we have. This is... just the lyrics. Okay.
The video's been scrubbed.
I'm telling you, and I mean this sincerely. You see which camera? They're both red. You see something on the internet, you better grab it immediately and burn it to a DVD immediately. This morning we're talking about this. By the time, I mean, when did you guys go back for it? I mean, it's gone. They scrub things so fast. Okay, so let's just go through some of the lyrics. Let's do the Patrick Henry said. This is for third graders, supposedly written by third graders about Patrick Henry. Here it is. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." But I say, third graders, but I say, give me the arts, give me science, give me music, give me dance, give me an education, so I'll have half a chance. It's not multicultural, though. Go ahead.
So I was just going to say, so this is from the same organization that created the Occupy song in Virginia, which I think you talked about yesterday.
Yes.
And the other song that you're referring to, because I started doing some research on this organization, it's called Kid Pan Alley, which is very original.
Yes.
And they created a Obama, I almost said indoctrination.
That would have been so wrong of you.
Obama inauguration song, where it was the students, second graders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Second graders created this song.
They did.
Obama's inauguration and how
second graders.
Second graders.
How old are you in second grade? 8, 9, 8, 7 and 8, 7 and 8.
And so just a couple of the words.
Thinking of my son Rafe at 7 years old, who is just like, Dad, squirrel. Okay,
That's right.
Writing this. Listen to these lyrics.
I have a kindergartner, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's been winter for 100 years. The world is as cold as the white snow. The birds have been wondering if it's safe to return. We've all been hibernating way too long, but now we've got the power. We're no longer cowards. We'll have a brand new song. Now we're ready to shed our old skin. We're ready for a brand new day. Ready for peace, ready for spring, ready for freedom. Let freedom ring. Welcome, Barack Obama.
Can I tell you something? If second graders actually wrote that, those second graders should be running General Motors. That's ridiculous.
And then
ridiculous.
it ends Barack Obama, hip hip hooray.
That probably was written by
He'll save the day.
Oh, he'll save the day. He'll save the day. All right. You keep up the good work, my friend. You keep up the good work. Back in just a minute.